Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the benefits of intermittent fasting and then also talk to you about how to do it, especially if you're a woman, because it's a little bit different than doing it if you're a man. So I'll start with the benefits first, and one of the biggest benefits of intermittent fasting is detoxification. So basically, when you are eating, your body reduces the detoxification of its cells to focus on breaking down the food that you're ingesting, that you're eating, or to digest the food that you're eating. So basically, if you're not fasting, if you're constantly eating and giving your body a very small window of fasting, your body's always going to be working on breaking down food and it can't focus completely on detoxification. Your body detoxifies itself 24/7, like all the time, but it is slowed down if it's focusing on other things, if that makes sense. And during fasting, the reason why you want to be intermittent fasting is when you're fasting, old mitochondria and just other molecules are eliminated from the neurons. So your body's detoxifying and functioning really well. So that is one of the biggest reasons why you want to be fasting. The second reason is hormone regulation. So basically, leptin, which is one of the hormones that regulates fat storage and hunger signals, and ghrelin, which is another hormone that tells your brain that your body is hungry. It gets normalized during fasting. If you're routinely fasting, those hormones will get regulated and normalized, and therefore you won't feel like you're always hungry or overeating. A lot of times, especially this is the case for me before I was intermittent fasting, and I know it's a case for a bunch of people, if you're used to like waking up, eating first thing in the morning, and then eating at least 6 meals a day, maybe eating a snack with the TV in front of the TV late at night, say 9 or 10, then you go to sleep and wake up a few hours later in the morning and you eat again, you're constantly eating, and then you kind of feel like you are always hungry. So it's because your hormones are kind of out of whack. The leptin and ghrelin, those are the biggest hormones that kind of tell your body when it's full, when it's hungry, things like that, and those are kind of out of whack, so you're constantly feeling hungry. So basically, when you are fasting, you're regulating those hormones and your body learns to eat only when it is actually and truly hungry, if that makes sense. So it really helps with overeating. If you intermittent fast, and I have found this to be 100% true, when I started fasting, I noticed that I only am eating when I'm hungry, and I'm actually not as hungry as I used to be. I used to feel like I always needed to stuff my face and I was still hungry, but now I'm like, I really don't need to eat, and I don't even really need snacks in between my meals. I definitely can tell that my hormones have regulated a lot. The third and last, there's a bunch of benefits, but these are just the top ones. So the third benefit is weight loss. So this is huge, and I have noticed it firsthand, and this is why I am such a fan of intermittent fasting now that I've been doing it for about I think 4 months, 3-4 months I've been doing it. I would say actually 3 months, because I started doing it after I had Lily, so 3 months, because she's almost 3 months old. So basically, so the last one's weight loss. So basically, glycogen. So actually, before I even talk about this, when you consume foods, whether it's carbs or sugars, sugars or carbs, but whether you're eating like fruit or greens or something, your body will use as much of the sugar from these carbs that your body needs, and then the rest will be stored as fat. So basically, glycogen is the first fuel source that your body will go to when it needs energy. After 6 to 8 hours of fasting, it takes about 6 to 8 hours for your body to use all of the glycogen before it will go to your fat cells for energy. So basically, within 6 to 8 hours, your body will just be using the food you're consuming and stuff like that to for energy. So if you eat a big meal, your body will be using that for energy. But after 6 to 8 hours, after you've that time period, your body will start tapping into your fat cells to use that as energy, because it no longer has any glycogen stores left. So that's when it'll start tapping into your fat cells, and that is when you will be losing weight. So basically, the longer you fast, the more your body will be taking from your fat cells to use as energy when the body is hungry. So the idea is that, so that's kind of, those are the 3 benefits. Now I'm gonna just kind of move on to how to do it. So the idea is that you wanna fast for about 14 to 16 hour periods. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you think of it, you're sleeping through most of that time. So it really isn't that much. So a good timeline, and one that I really like to use, is I won't eat until 11 a.m., which works really well for us because in the morning we wake up around 8, I feed the kids breakfast, I pack my husband's lunch, I clean the house. By 11 o'clock, that's when they have their lunch, they have an early lunch. And then I will eat with them, and that will be my first meal, and that works out perfect for us. But kind of do what works for you. But basically, if you want to fast 14 to 16 hours, what mine looks like is I eat at 11 o'clock my first meal, my last meal, my last bit of food will be done by 7. That's a long time during the day to eat. Like basically you can eat your dinner and stuff, just don't eat any snacks at night. So if you stop eating at 7 and then you don't eat till 11 the next morning, that is your 16 hours. Now, if you can't wait until 11 and you want to eat around, 9 or 10, you'll still be fasting for about 14, 15 hours, which is still really good. So I would say the minimum you kind of want to try and go for is like 13, 14. I wouldn't do too much less than that if you're trying to do it for weight loss and balancing hormones. So yeah, 14 to 16 hours is where you want to be fasting. And again, it's really not that bad. If you stop eating at 7 p.m. and you don't eat till the next morning until around 10, 11, you're going to get your good fasting part in. And that's when your body will start tapping into your fat cells to be using for energy, because your body does need energy because you don't have any food in your body. So that's how you would roughly do it. Now, for women, for men, they could fast every day and it's not going to really do much to their hormones, just because, men don't get their periods and things like that. So they don't need to have their hormones like keep in check, their hormones 100% in check, if that makes sense. But for women, it is recommended that women fast every other day. They intermittent fast every other day. So one day they wouldn't eat till 11, they stop eating at 7. Then the next day they could probably have breakfast a little bit earlier. The reason why women shouldn't be fasting every day. I mean, you can if you want to. I have noticed it wreak havoc on my body when I started doing it every single day at first. Basically what happens is your hormones, all your hormones will be out of whack because first of all, it's something new for your body, but second of all, your body feels like it's going into starvation mode, and it might even push your periods. You might not get a period, so you just have to be careful. So it is recommended to do it every other day, and I'm doing it every other day, and it's working well for me now that I've figured it all out. The second thing is that if you are intermittent fasting every day, at least I have found, and a couple people I've talked to, like women I've talked to, have found this to be the case as well, is that you will be binge eating a lot. So like if you don't eat until 11 o'clock and then you stop eating at 7 and you do that every single day, when dinner time comes, you will be so hungry that you will literally eat the entire fridge. And that's not good, because then that's kind of like, that's, making yourself have a bad relationship with food, and you're not intermittent fasting is kind of ruining everything else, because the whole idea is you don't want to be training your body to eat a ton of food. You want to eat the same amount of food that you would normally eat, just in a shorter time frame, if that makes sense. So by eating a ton for dinner, like more than you would normally eat, that is not healthy. So you don't want to be doing that. So I would recommend eating or intermittent fasting every other day. Do your own research on it, find out what works best for you. Maybe even only intermittent fast 3 days a week. So kind of going from there to the next thing is don't count calories. Now, because you're intermittent fasting and not eating till 11, that doesn't mean you're eating less calories. You still want to get your calories in. It just means you get to eat a little bit more at each meal, or maybe a couple, more snacks during the day or something like that. So definitely don't, like if you're supposed to be eating around 1,600 calories a day, 2,000 calories a day, whatever your calorie intake is, don't basically eliminate breakfast and say, oh, there's 400 calories out of my, diet that I'm consuming. Don't do that. Just add it to your other meals, if that makes sense. The next thing is, don't do this as a diet. Don't say I'm going to do intermittent fasting for 30 days and then stop, because that will throw your hormones out of whack as well, and then it won't really benefit you much. I would say it takes about 2 weeks at least to really start noticing the benefits of intermittent fasting, because it takes that time for your hormones to regulate and for your body to start figuring out the signals and figure out when it's truly hungry and when it's not. So when you actually start this process, you might feel starving and you want to be eating before 11 o'clock, but just try and push through it, and it'll be fine. You'll end up regulating your hormones, and you'll notice that you're not even hungry when 11 o'clock comes. So, but definitely don't do it as a diet. Just make it a lifestyle. Do it a couple days a week. If you have a party that day or that night, then just intermittent fast the next day. Just don't stick to it and make it like insane, because then you're not going to want to do it. Just make it a part of your lifestyle and you will love the results. And then kind of going from there is just focus on eating healthy foods. So don't be like, because I'm intermittent fasting and I can have a couple more calories at each meal, I'm gonna eat a burger. Still eat your healthy foods. Do what you would normally be doing, just again in a shorter time frame. So eat in a shorter time frame. one big thing, kind of especially for women, if you're intermittent fasting, you're doing it every other day, the days you are fasting, don't do any kind of intense like HIIT training or resistance training. Do something lighter like cardio, like walking or yoga, because your body, you know, it just has a little bit less energy. You don't want to be pushing yourself on those days. Also, the idea is after a big workout, if you're resistance training, especially and you're trying to build muscle, you want to be consuming food and eating protein right after. And if you work out in the morning and your time is not to eat till 11, by fasting after your workout, that is really dangerous to your body. You don't want to be doing that either. So intermittent fasting, on those days, just do like cardio, yoga, things like that, whatever kind of stretching or whatever you normally do. And then the days that you're not fasting, when you're just eating regular, those are the days you want to be doing your resistance and your HIIT and all that kind of stuff, your burst training. Yeah, and then one last thing basically is when you are intermittent fasting, just eat when you're hungry during the day, during your time frame, and that's it. Don't starve yourself, don't cut calories, don't count calories, don't do anything like that. Just eat healthy and just eat when you're hungry. And you will notice, I would say, like for me, once I was about 2 weeks into intermittent fasting, that's when, again, my hormones regulated and I started, you know, not being hungry as I thought I was all the time. So 11 o'clock would come and I could actually probably not even eat till 12, which I didn't do. I would eat at 11. But I could have gone longer because my body's like, okay, you're actually not hungry. And even during the day, I don't really require snacks because I would have a little bit of a bigger lunch because I haven't eaten, you know, since, you know, the night before, the day before. I would have a little bit of a bigger lunch / breakfast, whatever I'm eating. And then I wouldn't actually need a snack until my next meal, which was basically dinner. So yeah, to me, it works out really, really well for me. Figure out your own time frame, but one of the better time frames is eating like 10 to 6 or 11 to 7. Usually don't want to eat later than 8 o'clock, I would say. So those are my tips. That's how you intermittent fast. If you have any questions, comment below, let me know. All of this information was compiled through my own research, through my own experience, and by talking to other people who do intermittent fasting as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below if you are new to my channel to see loads more videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!